Good morning, and welcome to our 169th commencement ceremony at the Hill School. It's my pleasure to introduce you to the class of 2020. Hailing from 14 states and 14 countries, 34 have a legacy connection or several family connections to Hill alumni. 16 sixth formers left their mark on the Center for the Arts dramatic productions this year alone. At least 19 service organizations have benefited from acts of kindness and generosity from our sixth formers. Members of the class of 2020 have combined to earn 67 all-Maple and 42 all-area selections. And at least 45 student athletes will be playing a sport next year at their college or university. 21 school athletic records set by 18 members of the class. 12 outstanding musicians contributed to our instrumental groups, and 9 sixth form singers will be greatly missed from our vocal music ensembles. 76 sixth formers took AP tests in 23 subjects. Our sixth formers filled out a total of 955 college applications to a total of 253 schools. 103 of them gained admission to a college through either early action or early decision or both. And finally, our scholarly sixth formers will be attending 90 different institutions of higher learning, a range that represents the breadth and depth of our diverse students. These are just some of the numbers that describe the 151 graduates of our sixth form, the class of 2020. Please stand if you're able and remain standing as the Hill Tones and Hill Trebles sing the national anthem and as Reverend Adams offers our invocation.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the
As we gather here today to celebrate a step forward into new places with new people and new experiences, let us not forget the blessings that follow behind us, for this school which has given us a safe place to learn, for our teachers who have so richly loved and cared for our students, for our families who have cheered them and stood by their sides to the finish line, and on this day especially, we are thankful for friends that have been found among one another, for all the jokes they will laugh about in years to come, for the hardship and tears they have endured together side by side, and for the love which has been made evident through the relationships they will carry beyond this day. As we gather for this graduation ceremony, we recognize our diversity in beliefs, faith traditions, and values, but most importantly, we honor our unity and gratitude. Thank you for this class of 2020. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Adams. In 2019, the most popular "what is" searches on Google were, what is Area 51? What is a Visco girl? What is Momo? What is a boomer? And what is quid pro quo? Although those questions were at the top of our collective minds just a few months ago, today they seem like a distant memory, perhaps even from another century or another universe. Since you departed for spring break on March 6, 78 days ago, those areas of interest have been replaced by the following top "what is" searches on Google. What is coronavirus? What is a pandemic? What is today? What is Tiger King? And what is TikTok? Furthermore, almost every email I received lately includes the phrases unprecedented times, uncharted territory, or stay safe. Every online article and headline is tied to the pandemic, and even the quote, recommended for you algorithm on Netflix suggests we should watch Contagion, Outbreak, World War Z, and I Am Legend. Essentially, with some limited exceptions for Tiger King and TikTok, the world has become all COVID-19 all the time. As such, we live in a Groundhog Day, a never-ending news cycle with constant painful reminders of what we have lost as a result of this global pandemic, including the opportunity for you to be gathered together today on this hallowed campus with your proud families, best friends, and beloved faculty. But as we are reminded in the following parable, we have a choice in how we approach that loss and pain. An aging master grew tired of his apprentice complaining, and so one morning he sent him for some salt. When the apprentice returned, the master instructed the unhappy apprentice to put a handful of salt in a glass of water and then to drink it. "How does it taste?" the master asked. "Bitter," spit the apprentice. The master chuckled and then asked the apprentice to take the same handful of salt and put it in the lake. The two walked in silence to the nearby lake, and once the apprentice swirled his handful of salt in the water, the master instructed, "Now drink from the lake." As the water dripped down the apprentice's chin, the master asked, "How does it taste?" "Much fresher," remarked the apprentice. "Do you taste the salt?" asked the master. "No," said the apprentice. At this, the master sat beside the apprentice and took his hands, offering, "The pain of life is pure salt, no more, no less. The amount of pain in life remains the same, exactly the same. But the amount of bitterness we taste depends on the container we put it in. So when you are in pain, the only thing you can do is to enlarge your sense of place, to enlarge your sense of things. Stop being a glass, become a lake." Today, as we celebrate your individual and shared accomplishments, acknowledge your connection to 169 years of proud Hill graduates, appreciate the sacrifice and support of your families, classmates, and teachers, and look ahead to the next step in your journey toward a life of meaning and purpose. Let us not let the pain of COVID-19 be a glass that limits the joy of this moment. Instead, place that loss and inconvenience in the lake of all your Hill memories, all your Hill lessons, and all your Hill people. Enlarge your sense of things and treasure this moment. As we begin the festivities today, let us first offer our collective thanks to those who have supported the class of 2020 along their journey. The individuals who cheered them on, advised them, guided them, coaxed them, trusted them, and above all else, loved them during their time at Hill. Let us first recognize the parents, grandparents, and siblings of our graduating class for all you have done to enable these remarkable young women and men to arrive at this important milestone. Second, we offer our genuine thanks to our staff and faculty for their extraordinary efforts on behalf of the class of 2020. Please also join me in thanking the departing faculty members who we recognized and celebrated at our Wednesday Dial dedication ceremony. Mr. Bill Enos, Mr. Jeff Holloway, Mr. Len Miller, Dr. Nick Regal, Mr. Adam Salo, Mr. Andy Skitko, and Mr. Michael Webster. And finally, this class is very fortunate to have enjoyed the leadership, patience, and care of their form advisors, Mrs. Ellen Dietrich and Mr. Rob Steinman. And I now ask that we acknowledge them for their devotion to the class of 2020. Starting with our auto parade on Saturday, we have enjoyed an innovative and exciting week of celebratory events and activities to honor the sixth form. This morning, we will continue the festivities while we look forward to formally concluding them in a few months when we hold an on-campus event. Today, we will enjoy the sixth form student address, hear from our commencement speaker, Dr. Daniel Porterfield, and present a number of special prizes and acknowledgments to our students. And before Mr. Miller departs Hill for his new adventure, he will share his reflections on your journey and present our graduates. With that, let us begin. I am delighted to introduce sixth former Melissa Hsu to offer the sixth form student address.
Hi everyone. Thanks for tuning in to today's rather unconventional virtual graduation, but let's get started. Memories are tricky things. They're slippery and finicky, and sometimes it seems as if the time that has flowed through our fingers has only left the barest residue of tangible moments in our palms. In my palms, I have the vaguest recollections of my past. A refreshing sip of sweet coconut water during a warm Caribbean cruise. A crisp intake of breath during a hiking trip in the pure glacier trails of Alaska. One of the more recent memories is of a dense green foliage canopy rustling in the wind above me during the sixth form retreat. After waking up from a catnap on a picnic table, I gazed drowsily upwards to see the hazy softness of a setting sun and leaves fluttering down like dainty dancers. The view was so perfect at the time, I thought I must have been in a dreamy movie scene. Most of these tidbits of time I just mentioned contain marked departures from the quotidienne. I mean, that's what made them memorable, right? Some memories are notable for their sheer concentration of emotion. Looking back, perhaps you'd remember the excitement and pride that surged through you when Mr. Lehman announced our underdog victory over Elville. Or perhaps you'd remember the content happiness of deep belly laughs when you watched the opening night performance of Hairspray. Or maybe if you're a bit on the realist side like me, you'd remember feeling pretty traumatized fifth form year as you whitewater rafted in the freezing rain with Tim Wamakima's lost sneaker in your lap as your only form of company, all the while trying not to die of hypothermia. It was a pretty big oof, and I've never looked at black Nike sneakers the same ever since then, but you get the point. Moving on. Other memories, however, are more notable for their novelty, for being firsts and lasts. They have the special role of marking the beginnings and ends of the different journeys we all embark on in our lifetime. First steps, first words, first days of school. Each first we have represents opening one of those proverbial doors of opportunity. They're forays into something new, which allow the possibilities in our future to branch out ever more expansively. With these first steps, first words, and first days of school, we broaden our horizons by venturing into the unknown, facing the not quite familiar, and making it familiar. However, when this quest is complete, when we've learned what we could from the terrain around us, it's time to move on. And it's with a bit of sadness that we do so, because in the process of familiarization, we meet people who've helped us along our ways and make connections which bring us comfort and stability. They're faculty who are dorm parents, advisors, teachers, and coaches, friends who are roommates, teammates, and classmates. We grow attached to the places and the wonderful things that have happened there. The CFTA, where we watched amazing concerts and performances. The far fields and athletic buildings, where we played our matches and games. The dining hall, where we gathered for daily meals and amusing banter. And last but not least, we can't forget about the old faithful blue bus that somehow never broke down when we all piled in to be shuttled to and from the weekend Target trips. But moving on doesn't mean that the ties we've developed will sever. They can grow and strengthen as your mentors and friends continue to support you from afar, because they know there's more things ahead. From first steps, we must move to walks and jogs and runs. From first words, we must move on to phrases and sentences, maybe even graduation speeches. From first days of school, inevitably, there are last days of school. My last days of high school were something I eagerly awaited. See, lasts are a bit different from firsts. They're not full of that almost frantic buzz of nervous energy. They're full of languid serenity as you savor what you can of your final experiences. I thought that my last in high school were going to be particularly enjoyable. After college decisions were over, free time would be at an all-time high, while academic pressure would be at an all-time low. I think this is colloquially known as the senior slide. For me, as a chronic overthinker, this period of minimal obligations would be a liberating reset before college started. Moreover, what's special about sixth form spring is that everyone in the class has minimal obligations. This way, we were supposed to be able to cherish the friends we've made for the past couple of years, to relish our lasts together. Last walk to Wawa, last family night, last sixth form dance, last classes, last day at Hill. Unfortunately, many of our lasts happened months earlier than expected, and we didn't even know they were to be our lasts until it was official. School would remain online for the rest of the year. We couldn't have predicted the circumstances and events that led to the situation we find ourselves in today. The whole world, including toilet paper production apparently, has been put at a standstill as a result of this pandemic. It's been about 2 months of quarantine, and all we can really do is roll with the punches. I know, not being on campus is particularly disheartening for us sixth formers. Hill has so many traditions, and it's hard not to feel cheated when we've missed out on the things we've been looking forward to ever since we were underformers. Honestly, it's natural, maybe even expected, for us to feel upset. But it's also important to keep in mind the whole perspective. In the grand scheme of things, we're okay. In fact, we probably have it better than 90% of the world. Like, "Ah, shucks, we have to drink our sixth form tea at home, come on." Prime example of first world problems. So thankfully, we're safe, we're healthy, and we're here graduating, even if we're not doing so in person. Yes, our sixth form spring, the missed traditions, the virtual graduation, all of it is less than ideal, but dwelling on what we can't do won't change the situation, nor will it make us feel any better. Quite the opposite, actually. Instead, we've got to appreciate the memories that we do have and the memories we still have yet to form. We may not have savored our unexpected lasts because we were unaware they were to be our lasts, but we can cherish those memories now. We're currently missing out on things because of factors that are wholly outside of our control, but that's all the more reason to look ahead. See, we've just finished navigating through the paths of adolescence and are now arriving at the cusp of adulthood. With this quarantine experience, it's good that we've learned not to take things for granted. Remember this bottled up longing, this "I should have done this" or "I could have done that," because sooner or later, we will be in control of our circumstances again, and there won't be a global pandemic to stop us from doing anything. When that time comes, seize all the opportunities that you can. Right now, we may be wishing we had told people exactly how much they meant to us. Or we may be wishing we had hugged each other just a little tighter before spring break. These regrets, however, bring to mind the optimistic parting words in Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, which most of us have read at some point in our Hill School education. Fitzgerald says, "It eluded us then, but that's no matter, because tomorrow we will run faster. We will stretch our arms out farther." We still have our whole lives ahead of us, during which we can give all the tight hugs and say all the heartfelt thank yous to the special people who make our lives a little brighter. Missing this particular set of Hill School lasts is truly unfortunate, but very soon we'll be facing a whole lot of firsts as we venture into college, independence, and young adulthood. As cliche as it is, live each of those future moments fully so that there's no room for the type of regrets that we feel now towards our last year of high school. I mean, cliches get kind of a bad rap for being unoriginal and overused, but this overuse stems from the very fact that they often have more than a grain of insightful, universal truth to them. So, class of 2020, in these collegiate adventures and beyond, when you feel time flowing between your fingers, cup your hands together and grasp onto as many moments as you can, so that perhaps when you look back in 10 or 20 years, you'll have a palm full of cherished firsts, lasts, and everything in between. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. I am now pleased to introduce Dr. Daniel R. Porterfield as our commencement speaker today. Dr. Porterfield currently is the president and CEO of the Aspen Institute, a nonprofit, nonpartisan educational and policy studies organization based in Washington, D.C. Prior to assuming his current position at the Aspen Institute, Dr. Porterfield was president of Franklin and Marshall College in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, for 7 years. The college thrived and received national acclaim under Dr. Porterfield's leadership, setting institutional records for applications and fundraising, which resulted in the construction of several new state-of-the-art facilities. He also led the development of F&M's Next Generation Initiative talent strategy, which strengthened the school's academic profile and exponentially increased the number of domestic students of color and students from low-income families that enrolled at the college. A lengthy tenure at Georgetown University prepared Dr. Porterfield well for his leadership at F&M. In 1997, he joined the Georgetown faculty as Senior Vice President for Strategic Development. In that capacity, Dr. Porterfield led the university's communications, institutional strategies, government and community relations, and intercollegiate athletic programs. He also was instrumental in establishing strong relations between Georgetown and the DC public schools, and founded programs for at-risk youth and immigrant children. Before he began his career in education, Dr. Porterfield spent 4 years as a senior public affairs official in the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Dr. Porterfield earned BA degrees from Georgetown University and Oxford University, where he was a Rhodes Scholar, and his PhD from the City University of New York Graduate Center. While pursuing his doctorate degree, Dr. Porterfield was awarded a Mellon Fellowship in the humanities. 2 of Dr. Porterfield's children, Lizzie, class of 2015, and Caroline, class of 2016, are Hill alumni. Lizzie served as head female prefect and head of tour during her sixth form year, and at the 2015 commencement ceremony, she received the Nikolai J. Hiller Jr. Memorial Prize, awarded to the member of the school who best demonstrates the spirit of exemplary effort and loyal service to fellow students and the school. Caroline also was head of tour during her sixth form year, and she served as a prefect in upper school and was the editor of the Dial yearbook. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Daniel Porterfield.
Hello. What an honor it is for me to be joining you today for the graduation exercises for the class of 2020 at the Hill School. It's a day of gratitude for all that have helped these young women and men develop the greatness inside of them in their educational journey, and today of celebration of you, the graduates, and your growth and your hopes and your talent and your dreams and your contribution and your leadership and your service. It's also extraordinarily meaningful to me to join you because I'm a Hill parent. My oldest daughter, Lizzie, graduated in 2015, and our second daughter, Caroline, graduated in 2016. And we are ourselves always continually growing in our gratitude to the Hill School because of the quality of relationships and the quality of learning that Lizzie and Caroline experienced. It's a remarkable place. A lot of my memories visiting as a parent involve things like being on the grounds, this beautiful campus for prom for photos, or hopping down to Wawa on the way back home or on the way in to get something to eat for the drive back to Lancaster, because that's where we were living at the time. The chapel talks, the beauty of the library, the relationships that Lizzie and Caroline, and I know all of you, have developed with caring educators who look at you as an individual person and are there to help you grow. And those teachers can be a part of your life and your learning going forward as resources, as advisors, as you sometimes try to draw back on your Hill experience to wonder what to do next. So this is an extremely unusual time, of course, to be having a commencement in an extraordinarily difficult and different way. Our societies in the United States and around the world, where so many of the Hill graduates are right now, have been upended. And everyone's circumstances are in turmoil. Our societies are differing in the way that the pandemic plays out, but it's hard for everybody. And it's hard for families, it's hard for students, it's hard for the Hill School community, which has really been on my mind because I so value how much the Hill School means and the Hill School educators do in our world to make our world a better place. So some traditions are going to have to wait just a little. I had the experience in 2015 and 2016 of being at the Dell when Lizzie and Caroline took that plunge. And I think I was there as they were coming up on the shore in a scene of celebration. And I hope that you too will get your opportunity to come back to campus and to celebrate together as a class or individually with your families and the teachers that have helped you, because it is so important that we actually visit the places that matter to us in our lives. The day doesn't have to be less meaningful. It's just different. But the meaning is there because of the gratitude and because of your achievements. And I want to just give you 3 thoughts for the moment, which I hope could be helpful at this just difficult and unusual and unpredictable time. The first one is that you have created something for yourselves together at the Hill School that will be a continuing resource throughout your education and beyond. I know this firsthand, not only from Lizzie and Caroline's experience, but because when I was president of Franklin and Marshall College for about 8 years, we probably had about 16 or so Hill graduates who went to F&M, almost all of whom I got to know personally. And I saw the way their academic foundations empowered them to make the most quickly of college classes. And I also saw the way that can-do spirit led them to get involved in campus life in all sorts of ways right away. And I saw the way the experience of having taught at a Harkness table gave them the confidence in college to speak directly with faculty, to offer their thoughts in class, and also to listen well and to acknowledge the contributions of others. And so my first point I'd like to make is that just this, that what you have done over the last 3 or 4 years, depending how long you've been at Hill, is going to be a continuing and permanent resource for you because the quality of the education is so high. The second thing I want to say is that I believe each of you has the power to create your next stage of learning and education. As much as, in fact, your parents and families would like to give you an education and have sacrificed so that you could attend the Hill School, it's actually on us and on you and each of us as a person to create our learning with our questions, with our consistent application of our drive, with our creativity, with our optimism. You have the power at the next stages to create your education. I hope you'll think about being active learners in college, active creators and contributors to your college community, active teammates for the people you work with, both in class and on projects out of class, eventually active mentors to the students that come after you, just as you've mentored as leaders during your Hill years. But you have that power to create your education. You didn't have the power to stop the pandemic, of course, and to continue senior year the way you had planned. And when we apply to colleges, we don't have the power to get ourselves accepted everywhere we apply. But the real power is that power to drive your growth. And you can do that. You have what it takes. And it's in fact, the only way we learn is if we act on that desire to create our education. Third point I want to make is about this moment. And there is so much uncertainty, so much suffering, and so much that no one can even have imagined, never mind quickly cure and solve because of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is going to change history. And each of you is at a moment of transition in your life when something enormous has happened around you. It will require reflection, and maybe I'll say a pause. And by that I mean this summer, you may not be as able to do some of the things you otherwise wanted to do, travel or camps or early college, and it's not clear how you're going to go to college. It could be that it starts virtual. It could be that you take a gap year. It could be that you go to a campus, but then come back for a short period of time and then go back again. It's uncertain. And that's disorienting. But this is as a pause, it also offers an opportunity. If you think of this time as a moment, extended, I know, but to reflect upon who you are, to renew your commitments, to really pitch in and help your families and your friends by listening to them and by helping them if they're at moments of struggle. It's a pendulum. We go between optimism and pessimism, hopefulness or sadness all the time. This pause is a moment to be present to one another and to be present to yourselves and to think, who is it that I am becoming? And that moment of becoming and discovery does require pause and reflection. And then we go out and do things. And then we step back and pause and reflect. This idea of being in action, but also contemplative, is a part of growth. So maybe what will happen in these coming months is, even with the uncertainties, you as individuals and you as a generation will become aware of and excited about your chance to make your mark as we come out of this pandemic and as you're able to drive the changes you would like to see in the world. I wish it were easier, but I so respect each one of you as a person that has the ability, with reflection and with patience and with agility, to then apply yourselves in the world and make a difference. And I believe the differences your generation will make will be categorically different than those of other generations, because you came of age in the middle of this great global crisis, which also can be a great global awakening about our interdependence, our common humanity, and our call to serve. Thank you again for inviting me to be with you today. Congratulations and best wishes for all that is to come.
Thank you very much, Dr. Porterfield. Thank you for your thoughtful remarks and especially for sharing your wisdom and advice with our students today. I would now like to introduce Athey Family Master of Mathematics, Jay Spencer, Hill School Class of 1984, and Hill Parent of 2013, 14, 18, and 23, to recognize a very special group of sixth formers.
It is fitting that I am standing in the memorial room, which recognizes those brave Hill alumni who made the ultimate sacrifice for their country. I am a third-generation career naval officer. My grandfather, a Navy doctor, served during World War II, the Vietnam War, the Korean War. My father, a Navy test pilot, also served during the Vietnam War. The Cold War that was a way of life for both of them was in its final days as I entered service. I served on 4 submarines and traveled to 6 continents during my 20 years in the Navy. Operations Desert Storm and Iraqi Freedom, as well as the global war on terror, were some of the events that marked my time. We do not know the origin or location of the next threat, but we can rest well at night, knowing that brave men and women continue to serve their country day in and day out. From the Hill Class of 2020, 6 individuals have answered the call. Jordan Corpus, Mackenzie Daniels, Nathan Duche, Baba Kali, Zachary Lizanek, Michael Rakovich. If we were all together, I would ask these 6 young men to stand and be recognized. Wherever they are, and wherever you are listening, I hope you'll take a moment to pause and reflect on these 6 future officers and their call to duty. I'm proud of you. Now make your families, your school, and your country proud.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer, and thank you to the 6 of you for your service. As has been evident to the faculty for some time, this Hill School class is a wonderful collection of scholars, leaders, artists, humanitarians, athletes, and citizens. The collective talent represented by these young men and women is truly astonishing, which made it especially difficult for our Faculty Prize Committee to bestow our special commencement prizes. Nevertheless, it is with great pleasure that I share the following special prize citations. The Jody Calvario Class of 2003 Award, given to that 6th form girl who demonstrates outstanding leadership and high sportsmanship in competitive athletics. Lindsay Coffey. To know Lindsay is to love Lindsay. She's humble and kind to all. Although she shines in all areas of school life, Lindsay has substantially impacted her three sports, soccer, ice hockey, and lacrosse, since her first day on Hill's campus. Yet, despite her drive, athleticism, and competitiveness, she is never one to boast of her success. Lindsay is a reliable team member and always puts team and school first. She plays for the Hill. As captain of both the soccer and lacrosse teams, countless classmates look up to Lindsay, and she will undoubtedly impact the lacrosse program and her community at George Mason University for the next 4 years. Lindsay Coffey. The medal awarded by the Hill School for the late Oscar Cox in memory of his father, Jacob Cox, for the greatest improvement in scholarship at the Hill School. Joran Lee. Jenny Lee's journey at the Hill School epitomizes who and what the Oscar Cox Medal is all about. As a third former, Jenny had a hard time finding her way both in our community and in our classrooms. She never accepted the word no. Therefore, she would have to ask in a different way or a different person, hoping to hear the answer she desired. We stood firm, and Jenny slowly learned that we had her best interest at heart. Fast forward 3 years, and this young woman, always full of smiles, is now a mature, committed student who will go on to do great things at NYU. Her improvement and growth in and out of the classroom, both as a student and as a person, makes her worthy of receiving this medal. Jenny Lee. The Hill School Achievement Award, donated by the Rubin family, given to that Hill School sixth former who, in the opinion of the faculty prize committee, demonstrates the greatest improvement during the course of his or her Hill School experience. The award is to recognize not only improvement, but also strength of resolve, character, and a desire to achieve in some area. Shivam Sakdeva. If the greatest investment of all is in oneself, then Shivam is exceptionally rich. Over the past 4 years, Shivam has become fully comfortable in his own skin, a feat that has positively impacted every aspect of his Hill School experience. There is never a dull moment with Shivam. His ever-present sense of humor and enthusiasm keep us on our toes in the most positive of ways. We rely on Shivam's effective leadership and strength of character. He has earned the highest level of respect and appreciation from faculty and his peers alike. Over the past 4 years, Shivam has demonstrated notable growth in the classroom, and his investment in Hill life has been beneficial to all. With a steady moral compass and courage to live it, Shivam is the voice of our collective head, reminding us to be true to who we are as individuals and as a community. As this creative, kind young man heads to the new school next year, he will continue to be a model of resiliency and determination for all. Shivam Sachdeva. The J.T. Moore Jr. Class of 41 Special Recognition Award, presented by the school in recognition of outstanding leadership in enhancing the morale, spirit, and character of the class. Raina Cohen. Truth is the virtue we hold highest at the Hill, and everything about Raina Cohen is true. Honesty, compassion, and dedication define her leadership. Her loyalty and commitment to Hill inspires us to be both our best self individually and collectively. Blending confidence with unbridled enthusiasm, she has created lasting change in all areas of school life. She offers a powerful intellect and insatiable quest for knowledge, taking her peers along on an exciting, rewarding journey in scholarship, and has transformed the Hill experience for younger students through constant guidance and support. We have been privileged to witness Raina's deeply genuine and unwavering love for her Hill peers, faculty, administration, and community. Her contributions have made us better. Her legacy lies in those who follow, future leaders she has inspired to reach equal heights. There is no limit to what she can achieve at Harvard University and beyond. Raina Cohen. The Charles A. Frank III Class of 1959 Award, established in his honor by the Board of Trustees and Headmaster in 2007, recognizes in its pure form philanthropy, the love of mankind. Exemplified best in service to others, this spirit, cultivated in all students at the Hill, encourages them to give back to others and inspires them to do more for school, community, and country. Romesa Khan. Given that she learned about non-Sibi for 7 years at the Wincroft School and was taught from a young age that God is with those who are of service to others, it comes as no surprise that Roma Khan is the recipient of this award that recognizes the love of humankind. Roma has demonstrated love and service in public ways, calling us to prayer in weekday chapel and promoting the values of integrity, respect, and honesty as Vice President of the Honor Council. She has also embodied service to and love for others in less visible ways, from staying behind to clean up after prayers every Friday to mothering her housemates in Hillrest. Each night, Roma knew not only the location of all 8 girls, but also who had something to celebrate, who was feeling stressed, and even who needed some chocolate after a tough day. In her encouraging, inquisitive, and caring way, Roma makes everyone she meets feel seen, heard, and known. She does all of this not for reward or recognition. Rather, loving and serving others are part of Roma's very nature and character, making her the true embodiment of the Charles A. Frank III Class of 1959 Award, Roma Khan. The Archibald R. Montgomery Award, established by the class of 1973 and as selected by his or her classmates, is presented to that sixth former who has demonstrated the greatest friendship and personal concern for fellow students, Mary DeLann. Since her arrival as a third former, Mary has been smiling from ear to ear. Mary is a joyful person who looks for good in everyone and who holds herself to high standards of behavior. She is thoughtful and genuinely concerned about others, whether baking cakes to celebrate a friend's birthday or encouraging a novice classmate to the stage. Mary brings her unique enthusiasm to all that she does. Compassion and caring are at the forefront of Mary's actions, and it is no surprise that her classmates have recognized her with this award, Mary DeLann. The prize for unswerving loyalty and outstanding integrity in the fulfillment of school responsibilities in memory of Roswell Miller III of the Hill School Class of 1940, Jana Williams. Those familiar with the phrase give and take would agree that for this student, a phrase like give and then give some more is more fitting. She has personified servant leadership during her time at Hill. She has given not only of her time and talent to many programs and initiatives at Hill, but also the treasure that is her heart. Her selfless, poised, and steadfast commitment to her many roles and responsibilities on campus has impressed peers and faculty alike since she arrived in the fall of 2016. Her unswerving loyalty and outstanding integrity are evidenced in all she does, whether acting as prefect in the dorm, performing on the CFTA stage in the school's very first dance recital, attending conferences with the SDLC to help foster a more inclusive and nurturing environment at Hill, leading the cheers on the sidelines during Elville weekend, or simply listening to a friend who's had a hard day. Jana's impact on the community has been consistent and memorable. Jana Williams. The prize presented by the Phi Beta Kappa Association of the Delaware Valley to that student who excels scholastically and who possesses an inherent character and integrity. It is given not only in recognition of these qualities and attainments, but as an incentive to good scholarship at the level of higher education. Chongmo Wang. Today's world sends the message to young people that they must specialize early in order to find success. But apparently all of these experts and know-it-alls never met Barry Wong. On a typical day at Hill, you may catch a glimpse of Barry doing any number of scholarly activities. One minute, he's working on a delicate speed of light experiment in the science building. The next, he's playing a classical piece of music on a piano on the CFTA stage with ease. You can engage him in a wonderful philosophical debate over the nature of good and evil in the afternoon, and then later that evening, he's writing a novel for an independent study. Barry is already the definition of a Renaissance man, and his meticulous mind and passion for learning is something that will serve him well as he departs Hill for Johns Hopkins next fall. Barry Wong. The prize presented by the Aurelian Honor Society of Yale University for character, leadership, and scholarship, and head of the sixth form, the award given for the highest grade point average during the sixth form year. Melissa Hsu. Melissa Hsu thrives on expanding her mind. She is more than her unrivaled grades. She is a varsity tennis player, co-president of the jazz band, a recent podcaster, and a true scholar. Melissa fully immerses herself in every class and activity. Even in quarantine, she has been creating her own she shed at home, reading vociferously, making her own bagels, and rediscovering embroidery. While her modesty probably keeps her from enjoying this public recognition of all her effort and intellect, we know that she deeply deserves it. Next year, Melissa will bring her creativity, brilliance, and determination to a 7-year medical program which begins at Penn State and finishes at Thomas Jefferson's University Medical School. Melissa Hsu. The Marion D. Patterson Jr. Memorial Prize for unswerving loyalty and outstanding integrity in the fulfillment of school responsibilities. Owen Scott. Many captains lead their team with loud voices and commands, but Owen led by example, tirelessly working to perfect his form and fitness, motivating each of his teammates personally and individually. Owen knows to treat all members of a team or class with respect and value. He does not need accolades, but he does value a job well done. Albert Einstein said, "Try not to become a man of success, but a man of value." Look around at how people want to get more out of life than they put in. A man of value will give more than he receives. Owen gave much to the Hill School, in the classroom, on the track, and in his invaluable leadership as president of the Honor Council, for which he also receives the Catherine E. Doherty Award. We know Owen will bring that same generosity and integrity to Hamilton College next year. Owen Scott. The award presented by the alumni for Best General Record in the Sixth Form, Reva Tharwani. Love and compassion are critical elements in the construction of a tightly knit community. This young woman embodies those qualities and has given tirelessly of herself over the course of her Hill School career. Reva Tharwani is a force for good on our campus. This holds true from the classroom, to the stage, to the dormitory, to the SGA, and beyond. Reva cares deeply, performs passionately, and endeavors to make a difference in the lives of others on a daily basis. She has left an indelible mark at the Hill School, and Rutgers University is poised to inherit a truly spectacular Scarlet Knight. Reva Tharwani. The Nikolai H. Hiller Jr. Memorial Prize, awarded annually to that member of the school who best demonstrates the spirit of exemplary effort and loyal service to fellow students and the school, Elizabeth Moore. Throughout her 3 years at Hill, Liza Moore has become a household name. It takes a special person to leave a place better than how they found it, and Liza did just that. Whether in the classroom or in the dorm, Liza would light up any room that she walked into. Her kind, lighthearted spirit set her up for success here at Hill as she served as a 2-year prefect and head prefect this year. Liza's classmates gravitated toward her positive energy and undying spirit for whatever she put her mind to. Liza gave her all to Hill and undoubtedly left a lasting impact not only on her peers, but on the faculty and community as a whole. Liza's impact will last forever at Hill, and she will be deeply missed for years to come. Liza will attend Bucknell University in the fall, and we wish her luck as she builds her new home and once again leaves a remarkable legacy. Liza Moore. The Wilbur C. Riley Memorial Award, given to that young man who demonstrates outstanding leadership and high sportsmanship in competitive athletics. The Alex Hero Class of 2010 Prize for Unique Leadership in the Sixth Form. And the Headmaster's Prize for exemplary effort and sterling contribution to the life and work of the school is given in memory of James D. Andrew of the Hill School Class of 1922 and Virginia Andrew and family. Michael Rakovich. Ne ducamer ducimus. We lead, let us not be led. What a fitting motto for the class of 2020, given our school president, Michael Rakovich, who in his 4 years at Hill has been one of the most authentic, humble, kind, compassionate, and impactful leaders the school has been privileged to know. Mike's impact in our community certainly extended to all areas, including the athletic arena. A force on the baseball diamond and the ice, from the moment he stepped on campus, Mike propelled his teams to victories through a competitive spirit that was always complemented by steadfast sportsmanship. Michael also dominated in the classroom, yet the true measure of his impact on the community was his ability to unite the campus with his humor, willingness to be vulnerable and honest, and his genuine and kind heart as SGA president, for which he also receives the David Doherty Award. Who can forget Monday Rocks, when Mike courageously performed a variety of musical genres that, while not always in tune, always hit the mark with a meaningful message regarding the importance of mental health and other topics. Mike always made us laugh and occasionally made us cry. When Mike Rakovich spoke, the Hill School listened. West Point is lucky to have such an amazing cadet, and I know he will continue to make Hill, his family, the class of 2020, and our country proud. Mike Rakovich. I have been especially fortunate to work alongside Associate Headmaster Mr. Len Miller here at Hill over the last 6 years. As you all know, Mr. Miller will soon depart the Hill to become the head of school at St. Mary's Hall, an independent day school in San Antonio, Texas. It would take too long to enumerate Mr. Miller's many accomplishments before and during his time at Hill, but I do want to take a moment to acknowledge his extraordinary efforts to support his colleagues and especially our students at every turn. As I shared with our community back in January when I announced Mr. Miller's appointment at St. Mary's Hall, any student who has been fortunate enough to be in one of Mr. Miller's classes, play on one of his teams, be in his advisory, or just chat with him around campus knows that he is compassionate, thoughtful, and a patient listener. He loves Hill, cares deeply about every member of our community, and always goes the extra mile to make sure that we are all successful. Before Mr. Miller performs his last presentation of graduates at the Hill, one of his favorite responsibilities, I've asked him to share his thoughts about this class and their special moment. Mr. Miller.
In just a few moments, we will present our graduates as I read the names of each 151 members of the class of 2020. From Acevedo to Zitkus, and there's a Miller somewhere in the middle there whose very proud father stands before you now. The reading of each of these names celebrates in those few seconds the tremendous accomplishments and the hard work of each one of these graduates. Dear class of 2020, this moment signifies the completion of a long journey. Along that journey, you have developed a certain set of skills, a mastery of intellect, and some deeply ingrained values. While many of those skills are common for what we would hope any high school graduate might have, I want to submit to you that the Hill Diploma represents unique, rare habits of mind that sets you apart. You have been taught by an incredible faculty who question relentlessly what is worth teaching, how to teach it, and how we can best partner with you in reaching the highest of standards. Your peers, who like you have been all in on this journey together, will have likewise challenged you and taught you. We can all agree that the magic that happens here on the Hill has formed you deeply. So in a few brief remarks, allow me to count the ways. Here are the special qualities of a Hill School graduate. In a world that too often celebrates the lone individual, you have learned that our greatest strength is the back of each, as you've learned how to form meaningful relationships, ties that indeed never sever. In a world that continues to issue forth the myth that fame is the highest ideal, you've been taught to approach learning with humility, with curiosity, and lifelong devotion. In a world that too often measures things in reductionist utilitarianism, you instead strive for balance, fulfillment, and joy in life. How many times a day through your experience at Hill did you see whatsoever things are true in the transom of the chapel, above the doorways of all our classrooms, or in singing it in our favorite chapel hymn? That motto and the exemplars of your peers and faculty each day before you has ingrained in you a commitment to always act with integrity, with gratitude, and with personal responsibility. Lastly, in this confusing world of ours, you've been equipped to think critically, to see through the mess, to more truthful things, and to give voice to your ideas and your imagination clearly, rationally, and confidently. Dear class of 2020, you were born in the shadows of 9/11. You were reared through a global financial crisis, and now you graduate amidst this pandemic. We faculty, we parents, our family members, our alums, we are in awe of you and how you have handled yourselves. Your humility, your kindness, the way you look out for each other and for the world, your unwavering desire to do your best, and your tremendous goodwill gives us incredible hope for this world of ours. I speak on behalf of all our faculty. It has been an absolute joy and honor to teach you. Now, as is our tradition, before the presentation of graduates, please stand if you are able and join us as Mary Deland from the great class of 2020 leads us in singing our school song, "A Thousand Hands."
This I say.
And now I'm pleased to present the class of 2020. Alyssa Acevero, Isabella Alexandria Elizabeth Baker, Paige Kelly Barkus, Jacob Harrison Barrett, Zachary Wilson Barrett, Riley Anderson Bauer, Kennedy Elizabeth Becker, Frederick Nelson Biesecker III, Antoine George Buckman, Ryan Christina Busillo, Shane Michael Carr, Jonathan Yao Carroll, Calvin Chang, Alexander James Christie, Jessica Lauren Cherokee, Lindsay Marie Coffey, Raina Francesca Cohen, Matthew James Connors, Alexandra Maria Conway, Jordan Michael Corpus, Allison Juliet Corser James, John J. Cretion IV, Benjamin William Crispin, Mackenzie Lucius Daniels, Mary Elizabeth Delan, Caleb Emerson Dorsey, Nathan Remy Duche, Christopher Joseph Duff, Michael Eze, Zaid Rashid Fahmy Aziz, Haroon Feta, Gernard Lamar Finney, Nicole T. Fitzgerald, Shreyan's Gade, Kimberly Kekeli Gaskepo, Eric Allen Galante, Henry George Gartner, Eleni Victoria Geishauser, Yiren Gang, Stephen John Ginicus, Caroline M. Gaffredo, Madeline Shea Green, Anna Louise Gavotis, Jackson Philip Hayda, Megan Scott Haverstick, Tassilo Heinrich, William Kidmos Henriksen, Benjamin Tanner Holliday, Jordan Elizabeth Hauer, Michael Timothy Jamerson III, Cecilia Jenkins, Nathan Jules Kagan, Baba Callie, Liam McCormick Keenan, Charles Xavier Kennedy, Matthew David Kenvin, Romesa Khan, Alan Dongan Kim, Georgia Bell King, Ashley Marie Kling, Jackson Everett Kretzing, Christina Jiyun Kwan, Madison Rose Lewis, Zachary Ronald Lazanik, Mingsu Lee, Zhuaran Li, Jerry Liu, Yushang Liu, Nethman Benuja Lianaji, Michael Eric Logar, Alexandra Gloria Lombardi, Alexandra Francesca Lohmeyer, Lucas Alexander Lopera, Kwang Fu Liu, William Hampton Lyman, Ke Ma, Elizabeth Margaret McMurray, Russell Mark Marineri, Xenia Masani, Daniel Charles Dionysus May, Jane Elizabeth McCarter, Matthew Jaden McCrae, Nicholas George McCurra, Jack Byrne McLaughlin, Colin Joseph Mang, Sabrina Emmy Messinio, Isabel Tyne Miller, Elizabeth Holloway Moore, James Ross Morrison Jr., Amy Jane Morissette, Madison Claire Morton, Jianwei Mu, Jordan Mugisha, Eve Marie Nealon, Tunuk An Win, Chevelle Kumia Abobe Donker, Taylor Ann Owens, Carter Evan Page, Mariel Cazot Delamater Pearson, Madeline Elise Perry, Parkin Pongrapa, Logan Dominic Punzone, Sarah Shiona Chow, Peyton Riley Reed, Michael David Rokovich, Christian William Russo, Shivam Sachdeva, Owen Robert Scott, Shishang Shao, Isha Enya Sharma, Gabriel Shipper, Nolan Robert Smith, Stuart Larkin Andrew Sopko, Hannah Elizabeth Speece, Amanda Margaret Sprague, Kelsey Jo Stavecki, Caroline Addison Steele, Michael Jack Stevens, Samuel Clark Stiefel, Emma Magdalene Stone, Joyce Sun, Kanechi Jasmine Tabansi, Sanprem Taicha Wishian, Reva Ramesh Tharwani, Dylan Austin Thompson, Patrick Joseph Toomey, Alejandro Alberto Toro, Treman Tran, Carolyn Jutsi Seng, Olivia Annalie Tolman, Robert Louis Tavernier Twombly, Shazib Mir Umer, Dylan Christopher Vicenti, Helena Kathleen Wackerman, Timothy Wawakima, Chungmo Wang, Yitzi Wang, Zishi Wei, Brock Robert Weimer, Sloan Elizabeth White, Jana Williams, Gabriel Joseph Willman, Zichen Huang, Luchi Wu, Chong Wu, Melissa Chen Shu, Yu Ye, Alexandra Brianne Zelinsky, NB Zhang, Ziyan Zhang, and Anna Elizabeth Zitkus. Well done.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to present the Hill School class of 2020. To the class of 2020, now alumni of this great and historic school, I remind you that this is your commencement, which can be defined both as a completion of your studies here and the beginning of something else. It is the start of an adult life full of opportunity and potential. During your time here, you have seen firsthand what people can do armed with that Hill education. What you do with your education will not only define you, it will define and shape the Hill experience for future generations of our students. As alumni, you have entered a new chapter of your relationship with the Hill. In essence, a never-ending seventh form that will endure for your lifetime if you stay in touch with your classmates, your teachers, and your school, and if you honor the values and principles that you learned here. I wish you all good luck and Godspeed. Reverend Adams will now pronounce the benediction.
As we leave to go our separate ways, may God's wisdom guide you. May God's strength direct you, and God's power guard you. May you continue to excel in leadership, scholarship, and service. May you stay true to your dreams and use your gifts wisely. May your integrity be a gift to the world, and your voices rise up for peace and justice. May you hold these memories in your heart as you move forward, leading lives of fulfillment and joy. May you walk into the future with faith, hope, and love. And finally, may the Spirit of God be with you always. Amen.
Thank you all for sharing this special day with us, and congratulations again to the class of 2020 and their families. We'll see you soon.